Greetings adventurers and welcome to ADVinJapan. So today I'm going to be reviewing, this is MaxCA's C5 Pro, I believe is what it's called. It's kind of hard to find the name, as is the case with most AliExpress items. Their name is nowhere on the box. And that's because this is a knockoff of CarPlay and Android Play for motorcycles. It's pretty popular on AliExpress. It's got pretty high ratings. A couple of people on the Facebook forum for KTM 390 Adventure have also spoken highly of this particular product. So I went ahead and ordered it. So if you are thinking about purchasing this product, perhaps you're interested in it or you have it and you would like to see how to install this directly into your bike, then stick around as we're going to get into it. Right, Pepper? Now, don't mind my cat. She just kind of loves to do her own thing. Those of you who own cats, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you want to help, Pepper, or do you want to just make things worse? Yeah, I thought so. You probably just want to make things worse. So in this video, we're going to do a little unboxing first. I'm going to show you what's inside the package, and then we're going to go ahead and plug this thing in. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Then we're going to go outside, and we're going to go ahead and install this thing directly into the bike, and then I will show you the brightness out there. It is about midday, just after midday, so we should get a pretty good idea of the brightness of this screen, which is obviously the most important factor here. So if you're like me, you use your phone as your main GPS unit. I use Gaia GPS in combination with Google Maps and Apple Maps as well too, and it hasn't steered me wrong since, and I've been doing that for years. Now, I do have a couple problems though with using the iPhone as your primary GPS. The first issue I've had is that you just have to keep taking it on and off the bike, and that can be cumbersome. It's kind of a pain in the butt, you know, you drop off at a convenience store, you gotta pull it off and then put it back on when you're done shopping. Not such a huge issue. More than that though, I would say is probably the brightness. The brightness is a huge, huge factor. Any cell phone in a hot midsummer day is going to reduce its brightness to prevent overheating, and that happens with my iPhone all the time. Winter and low light conditions aren't so much of an issue, but certainly in the mid of summer, in the middle of the day, I can't hardly see anything on my phone. And of course, the final most obvious, having your phone mounted to your bike certainly risks you losing or damaging the phone as well too. So I went ahead and decided to go with this because it basically solves all three of those problems, but it still allows me to use my phone as my primary GPS. So let's go ahead and get into this box, figure out what's inside here, we'll plug it in and give it a test. So the packaging is really nice. It came very well wrapped. There was some damage when it came, but as you'll see on the inside here, there's quite a bit of foam to protect the actual unit itself. So when you open this up, the first thing you're going to see is the actual unit. And of course, the unit is actually plugged into the mount here. You can easily pop this off by just, you know, pressing that, and it comes right out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the accessories that come here. Really impressed with how many accessories come. You do have some instructions here. It does not show you how to mount or install the actual unit though, and that's just because, you know, they're expecting that people using all different kinds of bikes are going to be using this, so it's pretty much impossible to provide a universal install instructions. Okay, so these are the different parts that are included. So we'll go over each one here. So you've got your USB plug. So if you don't want to hardwire this into your bike, you can go ahead and just plug this into the end here, and then you've got a USB connection. Though if you do go off-road, I'd recommend hardwiring this thing into your bike. And then, of course, hardwiring is also, you know, kind of an anti-theft. So definitely recommend that. Okay, I think this is probably just a different kind of extension here. Maybe it's a way to charge this thing. I have no idea. And then in this bag, we've got the wiring harness here. And this will allow you to actually wire it into the bike, hardwire it into the bike. And what I was very surprised to see is it does come with a RAM mount, which is fantastic. I'm probably going to use this to mount this to my bike exactly where I need it. So when we go ahead and go out and install this, I'll go ahead and slap this on the bike and see what it looks like. So that's everything that comes in here. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You do get a little screwdriver here. that is used to remove the cover to get access to the US, or to get access to the micro card, the micro SD. So this unit is actually waterproof. I believe it's IPX7 rated, so super, super good on the waterproof rating. Okay, so after you remove this, you get access to the SD card. And then, of course, you've got, I believe this could be a means of connecting it to your computer directly. This does come with updates from the company. You'll have to email them on AliExpress. I just messaged them on AliExpress, and they got back to me, and they sent me the update file, and it's fairly simple. My guess is you probably use this cable to connect to your computer, or you can use a USB. The instructions, they come with the instructions on how to actually update the device, the firmware, but it's pretty straightforward. You just get a bin file and you put it in the top directory of the SD card and you just throw it in there. And then there's an update option in the settings where you can go ahead and update this unit. So that's also a great feature. The company does provide updates. Now be careful, don't purchase it's like a knockoff of this. Make sure that you purchase the actual unit from the actual company, MaxCA. I will provide a link in the description so you can make sure that you guys get the right units. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug this thing in and we can kind of see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the home screen. When you first turn it on, it takes a little bit of time to load. But once it loads, then you're good to go. Okay, so this is the native app. This is basically the default app. You will do all your settings from here. You can change volume, brightness, and all that stuff. But of course, this is a CarPlay / Android unit as well too. So I'm going to show you guys how to connect the iPhone. I don't know how to do Android. I don't have an Android phone. So we're going to be doing this with my iPhone. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into your settings and you're going to look for the unit itself. You're going to click the unit down at the bottom to pair and make sure that the codes line up. And once you've done that, then you should be connected and it'll right here just automatically open up CarPlay right there. And you can always go back to the menu by just clicking the MaxCA app. And then when you're going to go back into CarPlay, then you just click the CarPlay button. And it works almost seamlessly. You only have to do this once. Once you do it once, it'll connect automatically every single time. So super convenient with that. So again, I use Gaia GPS. I really enjoy this application. And I'm not going to go in depth because there's tons of CarPlay videos out there. But I have found that Gaia GPS on CarPlay is actually very easy to use. Not a whole lot of functions. You got zoom in and zoom out. You can move around with this little toggle. But I typically just use this follow me button. You can just turn it on and turn it off. And I can just get myself navigated that way. It works really, really nice. Then, of course, I also use Google Maps occasionally as well, too. And moving your cursor around is relatively easy. I mean, this is a $150 unit. It's not too bad. But you've got various settings, route settings that you can get into as well. Just your typical Google Map functions that you can use. All right, let me go ahead and get my gloves on. I can kind of show you guys the responsiveness here with my gloves. So again, not bad. I mean, these aren't the best gloves in the world, but it's certainly moving my cursor around. I just click the recenter button there and it gets you right where you need to be. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to connect your intercom. It's very simple. You just click that button on the right side there with the helmet, and then you're going to ensure that Bluetooth pairing is on. So click that on, and then on your headset, make sure that you're in pairing mode. Once you put yourself into pairing mode, the unit will almost immediately find your intercom. It should pop up on the bottom there, and then you just click your unit, and it should pair up almost immediately. Yep, we're good to go. So pairing complete, and we're good to go. So now basically you can activate Siri if you have an iPhone, if you got Android, I don't know, whatever you guys got, whatever voice assistant you have on there. So you can make phone calls, stuff like that. tell it to play certain, playlists, music, things like that. So really super convenient. So now I'm going to go ahead and take you guys outside. We're going to go ahead and slap this thing on my bike. Okay, so we're outside now. We're going to go ahead and install this unit right here. And I've gone ahead and decided to go with this RAM mount. It should be pretty simple. I've got a GPS mount here. I will be changing this out. I purchased the Motoren GPS mount, which I think is going to be a little bit more rigid than this. So I've got that coming in the mail, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and use this. And essentially this U-bolt just kind of comes right around here. And this attaches here, like so. And we'll have this little RAM mount here. And basically it's just going to look like this, essentially. And I'm going to leave my quad lock on there for my phone too as well, just in case, although I probably won't use that for the phone. I'll probably use that instead for my drone controller. So these come with lock nuts, which are really nice. It's got that plastic inside there, which should close everything off. And then of course I'm hardwiring everything, so I'm going to be using their direct hardwire here. One thing to note is that it does not come with these little clips, so you're going to need to purchase these if you don't have them already, and just clamp them on the ends there. You're going to need the male end on here because you're going to be putting these in the female end on your bike. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the tools that you're going to need. So to pull off the headlight assembly, which is right here, you're going to have to pull all that off and get inside to the wiring harness inside there. And it's real simple. It's actually not hard, you guys. Get a good socket wrench with a long extension, and you're going to need a size 4 and a size 3 hex socket. If you've got the really long Allen wrenches, those will work as well too. I just like this. It gets the job done quickly. And I noticed that these little these bits actually hold on to the Allen bolts a little bit better, so they prevent them from falling down. And then just a little screwdriver to help you pull off the center bracket that holds this light on right here. Okay, so how do we get this thing off? It's really straightforward, you guys. So basically this is all held together by 2 pieces of plastic. This whole light is clamped in by this left side and this right side. And then it's all kind of held together too with this metal, or rather this aluminum center brackets here. And so you're basically just going to be pulling screws out of the side of this. I think there's probably close to maybe 8 to 10 bolts on here. But basically what you've got here is you've got your TFT bolts. You're going to have one on this side, one on that side, and one down there that's holding it in the center. After that, you're going to have a center bolt down here that's going to pinch everything down at the bottom and close everything on here. After that, you're going to have 4 bolts that hold the light to the plastic part right here, this little housing, and those are going to be behind these. So we're going to have to pull these off too as well. Once you pull those full 4 bolts out and that bottom bolt, then pretty much the whole unit will come off. You do not need to remove these metal mounts that that sit here. They can stay on there. If you've got any front headlights here, you'll have to pull those off too. And then obviously I've already pulled off my windscreen here. I've got the AliExpress version, and I also have a headlight grill that I pulled off. So, everyone's got a different setup here, so I didn't want to go through the whole, pulling that stuff off with you guys. Essentially, just get to this point. I don't know what kind of setup you have. Just make sure that you've got all that stuff pulled off because it's all coming off. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this disassembly. So again, you're going to be pulling off the GPS mount here. It's the first thing you're going to want to do. It's typically held on with 2 screws, right, that go inside there. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and loosen up the headlamps down at the bottom, so we can pull this center bracket off. So let's go ahead and do that. Now this is a headlight mount that I actually made myself. I just went to the hardware store, bought one of these coated pieces of metal and bent it into the shape that I liked it. Okay, comes off. There are 2 bolts down here that you could also secure this whole headlight assembly with. I couldn't get this to line up quite right with those bolts, so I've just got 2 bolts that hold this whole assembly in, but it's plenty strong enough. It holds everything in there very, very tightly. So I'm just going to leave those sitting there. And then what we're going to do is take our screwdriver and we're going to pull this piece off. But basically, you can see this is just clipped in right here. You've got a clip there on this side, and it's clipped in here on that side. So again, when you do an install, make sure that this is fully snapped in and clicked in, because it really holds everything in together. So just pop one side out, and while you're holding that, go ahead and pop the other side out. And it should just come off just like that. You'll have a little piece of like sticky rubber tape here that's going to hold it kind of to the bottom, so you may have to pull that apart. So once that is off, now we can start attacking these screws, these bolts here. So for this, again, you're going to need a long extension or some really super long Allens, which I don't have. So I'm just going to be using this. So I'm going to get all this stuff out of the way first. So I'm going to remove the TFT here. All right, so those 2 come out. If you've never done this before, I definitely recommend keeping your bolts organized on the table so you know what goes where. Order here is very important too, and you'll see why. Because if you put stuff in the wrong order, then you're going to have to end up probably ripping it all back out again. All right, so I know that these 3 bolts are going to go with the TFT, so I'm going to keep those there. Once you have those removed, your TFT will come out, and you can go ahead and remove it from the wiring harness by pressing down on that clip, and it just pops right out. So we're going to go ahead and keep this close by to these 3 screws so I know. Okay, good. So we've got everything revealed here. This is going to be much easier now to get to some of this stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take off these fenders as they're kind of in the way, and that's going to require the size 4, and it's really just 1 bolt right here that's holding all this in. I'm going to need some new fenders, or I'm going to have to do some repair work, because if you see, that's just about broken and that's cracked. Okay, and then we'll remove the left side fender here, front fender. Good. Oh wow, that one's just about ready to go. Yeah, I'm going to have to put some glue on that. Okay, now we've got access. We can get down into some of these other bolts here a little bit easier. I'll probably remove this. It's gonna make things easier too. And my little tire pressure monitor as well. Okay, good. Now we can go ahead and get access to these larger bolts. So we've got this center bolt here that's gonna hold the whole assembly from down below up front together. That comes off. And put that there. All right, now we can get access to the 2 bolts on this side and on the left side too as well. Okay. Very nice. These all kind of have a distinct look to them, so I'm just going to keep them in the same spot just so I don't forget. Good, so we don't have to take this off. It's totally fine. We'll be able to pull this apart enough so that we can get this light out. If you want to, you can go ahead and do that, but you don't have to. Okay, let's go ahead and pull these out. Good. Okay, so these are the 4 headlight bolts, and the last one is right up top here. It just sits in here and holds the assembly together from the top. And once that comes out, as you can see, now we're getting a lot of movement here. So, all right, so now we've got this whole unit to the point where we can now just go ahead and pop one side out, pull the other side apart, and pop the other out. Now, just like that center bracket, you're gonna have some of this goo around the light, so it may be a bit of a tug to get it out. Don't let this hang while you're doing your electrical work. Just disconnect it, because you don't want to put any strain on those wires or the connection here. And this is our harness right here. It's pretty crowded in here, so we're gonna have to find out a way to get our little power units in here. Again, you're gonna have to put the male side clips here, And you're going to have two different, well, I mean, if you haven't gotten in here before, you're going to have two different connection points here. So the one here that's got the yellow on both wires here, this bypasses the ignition and goes straight to the battery. And so that means you can turn the ignition off, but you're still going to get power to the unit. Now, I don't want to do that because I don't really have a reason to use this unless the bike is on. Plus, I don't want to risk draining the battery forgetting to turn the unit off. This one is connected directly to the ignition and will turn the unit off. It'll cut power as soon as you, turn the bike off. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to this one, and I'm going to leave this one as is. So we'll go ahead and put those back there. Now, the way this works is, generally speaking, the black is going to be ground, and anything with red or a solid yellow is going to be power. And then on the unit here, you've got red for power, black for ground. So let's go ahead and connect these up. And that one is in as well. And what you're going to want to do, of course, obviously, before you knit all this up, is you're going to want to test the power and make sure that it works. So let's get our unit and go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to go grab my key. Okay, here we go. Let's see if the magic happens. Yeah, we're good. MaxCA. All right, so we've got it. Again, this is connected to the ignition, so once you turn it off, we're good. So let's go ahead and disconnect this, and we're going to go ahead and wire this around and knit her up. Okay, so we've got to find a space for this inside here. So first thing I'm going to be doing here is probably just pushing this down as far as I can. This is your TFT connector. Make sure that you've got this pushed through up top here, so you can connect that later. I'm thinking I can probably get this. Okay, it looks like there's a little hole down here. I think I might try and get it down inside here. Yeah, I think that'll get in there. Okay, good. Very nice. So we've got a little bit of slack on this wire here. By the way, you should probably, I'm probably gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tape this up just to make sure, because I don't want to get back in here. So let's give her a good tape. Good. That should do her. Okay, we've got our light cable here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this where it needs to go, which is right out here. So this is going to pop out through where the TFT harness comes. It doesn't quite pinch everything in there, so you will have a little bit of space to get this to pop out, and you won't damage the cord. All right, so let's go ahead and get this light in. Don't forget to put the connector on. Okay, and in the reverse, we're just gonna go pop in one side and then pop in the other. Okay, there we go. That's looking good. Great. All right, so you need to make sure that you've got it around the lip of this light. The entire assembly is around the lip of the light. First thing is first, we're gonna put this light, we're gonna connect the light to the plastic holder. We'll go ahead and do the bottom first, like a glove. By the way, if you found that your headlight is not quite aligned correctly, this is your headlight adjuster right here. There's a tiny little Allen inside there. Sorry, it's not an Allen, it's one of those kind of star hexes. And you just stick your tool in there, which I think probably comes with the OEM tool bag, and it says minus down for minus, up for plus, and you can adjust where your headlight is shining. So if you need to do that, it's a great opportunity to go ahead and get that done. All right, let's get the bottom on the other side. Okay, this is gonna have to get pushed in probably. I don't feel it biting. There we go. Got a bite. Great, good. This might be a bit of a challenge to get these top bolts in. Okay, good. I got a bite. I'm not gonna tighten that down quite yet until I get this side in. It's the last one that's the hardest. It's just a lot not a lot of room in here. Okay, looks like I got a bite. Good. All right, let's go ahead and tighten these down. Doesn't take much. And before we get too far, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the light on and make sure it works. Good. Yeah, we've got lights. Let's go ahead and do the brights. Good. Okay, from here, you guys, it's pretty easy, straightforward, just button her up. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is go ahead and put these bolts in, one on the top. Again, order is important here. Make sure you're putting these in the correct order. Otherwise, you're gonna have to unbutton it all in order to get access to some of these bolts. Good. All right, next one. We're gonna go ahead and do the bottom now. Now for this, you need to make sure that your wire is not pinched in between here, because we're gonna be bringing this together right now. Another thing too is make sure that that this little plate here is properly in place too as well. And once you got a good bite, go ahead and just make sure everything's lined up here as it kind of starts putting itself together here. Good. That's where we want it. Let's go ahead and do our TFT. So you've got the two up top and the one on the bottom. Snap that in. Just making sure that your cord here is out of there where that hinge is going to sit. All right, let's go ahead and get the top bolts in. Good. Great. All right, and finally the last one here. This is a bit of a tricky one. I make sure my cord is in the right. So you can see, I hope you can see that, but I mean the cord isn't entirely pinched, and that's because the TFD doesn't sit tightly against that little plastic part. So you do have a little room for this cord, your little GPS cord, to dangle there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this in. Great. Okay, so next we're gonna go ahead and throw this bad boy on. So again, you got this little sticky stuff down here. The bottom goes in first, sits down there flush, and then snaps in on top, ensuring that this does not move forward. You should be good to go with that. Okay, now that we've got the that centerpiece on there, we can go ahead and throw these on. All right, so first thing, you've got to pop this through this little rubber grommet here. So let's get that in there. Put in the bolts up top, reverse here, and the same with the other side here. Okay, don't put these down too tight or you'll do what I've done, which is basically crack the plastic. It doesn't need to be very tight, really does not. It's being held on by two very, very strong bolts here, so. Okay, now that we got these on, I can go ahead and put my headlight assembly underneath on. Again, keeping in mind that if you don't have a headlight assembly, or in some cases you may have two screws that go underneath here too as well. So here and here. For me, I don't have these two bottom ones, as this entire metal unit basically holds everything in place. Now, these are really easy to strip out, so just be careful the angle you got on this. This one I've already stripped out. It's not entirely stripped out. I mean, it's working, but I've stripped it out from the plastic. See that? It's just spinning in there, but it's on. It's not coming loose. It's very secure. It's tight in there. Okay, great. Everything is buttoned up here very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and throw all this on here. I'm not going to record that because obviously you probably have something different. And then I'm going to go ahead and film me actually mounting the unit up here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the front grille on here and my windshield too, as well as the GPS mount. Everything is kind of on here. And I'm going to go ahead and connect this thing up. And there's something that I realized that I probably should have done. To really make this anti-theft, this part here should probably be inside the bike. So before you button all this stuff up, I would probably connect this inside the bike so that the wire is kind of sitting down inside there. So I'm gonna remove these bolts. Okay. Okay, so got the unit off now. So what I can do is go ahead and just push this inside. I'm going to go ahead and tape this up as well. More tape, more better. Okay, shove this back down inside here. Good. Okay, so now we're pretty much, for the most part, not completely anti-theft, but a lot more anti-theft than I was before. At least it's anti-theft enough for Japan. Nobody's going to bother to pull any of this stuff off. There we go. Okay, so now we can go ahead and throw on this U-bolt mount up top, and I'll show you how I get this done. I really like the setup on it. I believe it comes with like a piece of rubber that you can put around this. I don't care though. I'm not like paranoid about this mount being damaged or scratched. So I'll get the lock bolts on there, the washer. Okay, now I lied. You're gonna need a size 12 to tighten this down. And I don't want to get this too tight because I'm going to move it, but just tight enough so I don't have to do too much once I get it in place. Okay, so we've got it kind of semi-tight here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist this back here, all the way back. Okay, so then you're going to go ahead and pick up a size, I believe a size 11 to get this tightened the rest of the way. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, that's not moving anywhere. Okay, and then we'll get our little ram mount here connected. Very nice. Okay, get my cord wired around here. Very nice. Looking clean. Looking good, folks. What do you think, huh? Okay, let's go ahead and turn the bike on again, ensuring that everything is operating as is, or as should. Good, MaxCA, good. Now, and the sun right now is literally right on this, so you guys can see the brightness here. That's not bad at all. That's really not that bad. Again, my phone can sit here if I need to, but I probably won't because, you know, the phone components in here are just really, see, my phone is already overheated, so. But yeah, it'll sit right here like this if need be. Okay, this is another wrap for a video, guys. I really appreciate y'all sticking around. Definitely, if this helped you out, give me a like and subscribe. It helps push my video up in the ranker, and it just makes it that much more available to people who are looking to do this kind of stuff on their bike. So until next time, this is ADVinJapan.